Hi, I'm Brett Johnson, former United States most wanted cyber criminal, now good guy, and host of The Brett Johnson Show. Today's episode is episode number 85. I sit down, I talk to Andrew Haden. Well, who is Andrew Haden? Well, Andrew is an absolutely remarkable, outstanding human being. He's one of my Twitter followers. He reached out to me a few weeks ago, sent me a few messages, and one of the messages mentioned how a lot of these sneaker resale stores and websites are actually money laundering fronts for organized crime. Well, he said that. It clicked with me, and I was like, of course they are. And I was like, hey, would you like to come on the show and talk about that? And he was like, absolutely. And I'm like, well, shit, this is going to be one hell of a show. So Andrew came on, and full disclosure, we did not get to dive into that topic because there were all these other things that really popped up. We mentioned it briefly, but we didn't dive into it. So we're going to dive into that on a later episode. This episode, Andrew has been programming for a large part of his life. He's worked with a lot of AI companies. He's building a lot of different AI type products right now. We discuss things like bots, how bots actually work on those websites. And no, it is not a boring discussion for those who may not be interested in that type of thing. But we talk about why you can't get Taylor Swift tickets, why you can't go to Nike or Adidas websites and buy those shoes that you want, why you have to get them on aftermarket for these high markup type prices. We talk about things like that. We talk about how AI is actually working, what it's going to evolve into, if criminals are using it, and when they do finally get to use it, how that's actually going to affect things, how that's going to look, how it's going to operate. It's an outstanding conversation that we have. So without further ado, I'm going to have Andrew's bio in the show notes for anyone who is interested. But Andrew, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. Without further ado, let's talk to Andrew Haden.
You got me?
I got you. How are you?
All right. Hi, I'm great. I was just, I bought a couple things at the Apple Store. It took 90 minutes on the phone with Goldman Sachs to get them to unlock my card. You know, everything they know about me. Everything they know about me. They know I drove there on my Apple. They got my Apple card on my Apple iPhone. You know?
90 minutes.
Yeah, you know, it's like even when you have the chain of trust, these fraud systems still false positive. That's one of the worst things today, I think, is that the models assume like everyone acts super consistently,
right?
Like, particularly for independent contractors. I work in seasons of sort. You know what I mean? So yeah. Anyway, I'm.
Well, Andrew, what work do you do? I mean, obviously, fraud. So what work do you do?
So I started. I got into the sneaker bot industry in 2020. Okay. I did that for a year. I did that for the first year of the lockdown, essentially, and then made the LLC, brought in $1 million, and then I sort of was like, okay, milestone, take a step back. What the fuck just happened? So I started to kind of like look at the logs and stuff, and I think every credit card form that's on the internet or in a piece of software just inevitably gets stuffed with cards. Now most of my customers legit, they're using their own cards. You know what I mean? They use virtual credit cards with synthetic identities.
Right.
But that seems to be deemed, okay if you're using your own cards.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's okay, but at least there's not much consequence.
There's not much. There's not. Yeah, we'll talk a lot about that. Yeah. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot the last couple of weeks. Because I've had a lot of people come to me trying to buy Taylor Swift tickets.
Of course.
And so my friends run one of these virtual credit card providers called Slash App. Okay. And I wanted to know how their business is doing because they have a purview over sort of this entire thing, like of all, and it's it's debit only. They have real good. It was invite only up until somewhat recently. They have 8,000 customers that use their stuff every month, but right now they told me they have individual customers. They have individual customers with their bank moving tens to hundreds of millions a year to Ticketmaster. And
Ticketmaster literally doesn't give a damn.
They don't give a fuck. They wine and dine these people.
Right.
They wine and dine the biggest, and now these people aren't using bots. They actually have call centers overseas running Google Chrome with a proxy to the United States.
Okay.
And so like a lot of the, they're making so much money that they, even at that scale, the human overhead is still, it's part of their system.
Right. So let me ask you, man, and this is, as you probably know, I do some consulting with some law enforcement agencies, and they had mentioned to me in the past they wanted me to look at this group called Malice.
I know those guys. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not close to them, but I know of them. Yeah.
Right. And a lot of what you're talking about with the virtual cards, synthetic identities, the bots that are running, everything like that, that's what Malice does. And as far as we could tell, nothing illegal was happening there. There was some potentially fraudulent advice that was being handed out, but other than that, nothing that's really prosecutable. Now you were building the bots for this or not?
I built a bot called Rush AIO. I was contracted by a couple people that own one of these Discord servers called the Site Supply. If you look that up, they've got maybe north of 500,000 followers already. Shoe focused. The guys that started reselling shoes in middle school, they found me in 2020. Showed me the sneaker bot industry. I was working on self-driving cars at the time.
Okay.
But I, wasn't getting paid very much. And they showed me, here's competition, here's what they do. And I'm like, yeah, I can write this in like 2 months.
Yeah.
So it just kind of did that. Now it's the maintenance that's really expensive with these bots, because they're all, it's hand coded. So and the main reason I stopped doing it is because I saw another way to do it. And that's what I've been gearing up towards the last few years. More of like an AI thing, more like self-driving cars, but like, the computer kind of using itself, what I mean?
Sure.
And my work kind of what I'm working up towards is I'm going to release a bot for the Apple Vision Pro, which is the most anticipated resale events of the decade. It's going to be an unlimited supply, and I'm hoping to get as many consumers as possible. Because the problem is that humans don't have a chance right now.
Right.
For the most hyped items,
I mean, you're not going to get those Taylor Swift tickets by signing on to Ticketmaster.
Yeah. And so I think that there's a huge, huge opportunity for sort of a mass consumer focused software product that focuses less on serving high phone. When I ran the sneaker bot, I'd wake up, guys like, hey, I want to spend $500,000 today.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want more customers that are like, I just want the Apple Vision Pro, and then I'll make software that appropriately. I never did exploits or what are otherwise called bypasses.
Right.
I always would exactly simulate human behavior, because I've run, retail sites before. I've hosted a lot of websites and web services, and so I know how to be kind to a website. So a lot of these bots, when a sneaker releases or PS5 releases the Apple Vision Pro, it looks like a crazy cyber attack, right?
Right.
And it's going to, even if it was just humans, it would kind of look like that. But the bots kind of amplify it. So I think I have an acceptable sort of architecture, both technically as well as legally. Even if the law that's currently pending is signed into law, they have a Grinch Bot Act, which is basically the Ticket Bot Act copy and pasted.
But there's only been like one or two prosecutions for that.
Yeah, but they only went after a low 8-figure reseller, and I know for a fact that there are much bigger fish that are eating good this year. So
here's the thing.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
My thing is I honestly cannot blame consumers or these groups that use bots to get their PlayStation 5s, to get the tickets, to get the Apple Vision when it comes out. I can't blame them, because I'm of the opinion that you use the products that are at hand, as long as they're not illegal. It should be fair game.
Yeah.
Now, I do blame companies like Ticketmaster and Nike and all these other companies that don't seem to be mitigating the problem very well.
Yeah, they don't care. They get paid either way, and it's a broken business model. So if they wanted, there's an opportunity that until their business model changes to be somewhat like dynamic pricing or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which they kind of like it, because when the item gets more press, when it resells. I don't know how their finance people kind of model this stuff, but I'd be interested to see.
Right.
Like they can't have not thought about it already. I don't know. There's a lot of people do a lot of dumb things, but that I think that the concept of a fixed retail price is probably here to stay.
Right.
And next year, American people will make more money off the Apple Vision Pro next year than Apple makes.
I mean, that now that's something to consider.
Yeah. So that's what I'm because I'm like, dang, like I can sell like maybe I can, I'm going to release a product where it's $1,000.
Right.
And if you don't get one, I'll give you a refund, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? and then you have all these gambling addicts today. They just throw $1,000 at a monkey coin. So
right.
Right.
So, all right, so you pay $1,000 for this. The Apple Vision is what, 2,700, 3,000, something like that?
Yeah, it's 3,500.
3,500.
It's going to be like a PS5, but twice as expensive.
Right.
Or seven times as expensive.
What do you think it's going to resell for aftermarket?
I think the first month over $10,000 each.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think
easily.
And it's only sold in the U.S. So we're gonna, I'd love to talk more about international effects of all of this.
Right.
Reshippers that are used. There's a lot of crazy anecdotes I know. Like Texas Instruments has a store. They sell chips, right, to people that build larger hardware products. TexasInstruments.com is like actively bought by Chinese companies that then like reship the chips back there so they can play with them. So like if you're an American startup and you need like some chip, you might be like, dang, like this one's really hard to get. Like it's always out of stock. I even sign up for the notifications, and like you wouldn't know that. Like I know for a fact, like the guy that did the contract,
right?
For the Chinese, like who are buying like I'm talking millions of dollars through that site. No, so I think this is also somewhat of a, I don't know. There's also some element of international competition here.
Right. And that's one of the things I noticed on Malice. I was a member of that for several months, just lurking in, seeing how everything operated. Cool to walk through those, it is. It really is. And very, very tight knit community. Very knowledgeable on the products that were coming out. They have the the alert system on what you should buy, what you should resell it for, everything like that. And they talked a lot about that international market as well, where to get it, where to resell it, things like that. And I would love for you to talk more about how that actually works.
Yeah, I'm about 10 minutes out from my laptop's traffic.
Yes, sir.
I'm in San Francisco right now.
So how are things in San Fran today?
Weather's been great.
That's good.
I went. I went to the Apple store. I didn't go to the one downtown. The one down. It's not that nice downtown right now. So I went. Further towards the water, towards the beach, by the ocean. Nice mall out there. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, I like San Fran. I can't afford San Fran, but I like it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people pass through here. It's like an average. I grew up here. And I've seen it through all its changes.
Right.
Yeah, it is. It is just, it's dumb expensive. So I think, but I know it very well. So when I do have the money to buy a house here, I know exactly where I want to buy.
Where?
Okay. San Rafael is a town north of San Francisco.
Okay.
That's where I'm from, and yeah, I just want to like buy. My family, my folks are in their late 60s, early 70s.
Right.
Just want to buy them something, and then I like the Berkeley Hills a lot, right
That's a
above
nice
UC
area.
Berkeley.
It's a nice area.
I work from the library there a lot. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I know. Yeah, it's very it's located very conveniently.
Right.
So yeah,
So,
I wouldn't buy in San Francisco. Not right
I don't blame you. So what? All right. So you worked self-driving cars. You built a hell of a good
Yeah.
bot. What's education?
Yeah.
What'd you go to school for?
I went to UC Davis for computer science for 2 years. But I got a job. I got a job offer after 2 years, so I left school.
Okay.
And that was for the self-driving car company called comma.ai.
Okay.
Let's go. And yeah, I'm actually pretty close by to where our office was right now. And that was 27. I worked there 2017 through 2020. That was a real achievement. Working with a cracked out team, right? Learning a lot,
right,
about how things can be done. And in fact, it's funny. They're still active. They're in San Diego now. They are. It's funny. They added navigation to the car recently, and the way it works is the AI that would normally just be looking at the road also now just looks at Waze. Looks at Google Maps.
Okay.
The screen, and so it's computers are able to perceive themselves visually,
right,
and you can make AIs now that use the computer. And so this is the future of the bot. This is what really gets wild this decade, is like the internet, the like synthetic identities for like AI bots that just like Chat GPT, you can say, it's like as if you could tell a Chat GPT to do something. I have a friend works on an app called Chat with Annie or Talk to Annie. It's one of these like hot AI girlfriends things, but it's like for all purposes. You know what I mean? Like a general AI assistant. And like he's considering next year, like it might be on, it's on the critical path of a lot of different AI companies.
Nice.
Is interacting with the web, but we're going to see them start to encounter bot protection.
Right.
Start to, like I'm seeing a lot of these companies, very well-funded companies, kind of flail with the sort of stuff that, sneaker bot developers really figured out a long time ago.
Right. Right.
The AI doesn't solve everything. There's, it still has to run in a web browser. What browser do you use? What kind of servers, that sort of thing. That's what I've been experimenting with for a number of years now. And so I think I'm still going to hand code this thing for Apple, but, I need a big data center, a lot of GPUs.
So let me ask you, the use of AI, I used to work for a bot mitigation company, Arcos.
Yeah.
And so how does AI help bots get past one of these bot mitigation companies?
So a key part of establishing trust with an anti-bot system is simulating human input activity. So on a computer, that's mouse and keyboard. On a phone, that's touch and keyboard. Also things like potentially if you're in an app, that's accelerometer, sort of like sensor data, input and sensor data. And so really it's that I think that's already pretty much a solved problem. Humans act chaotically enough on computers that it's not very difficult you don't even need AI necessarily to make a model that passes all bot protections right now.
Right.
The more interesting thing is that the coding of the bots becomes more resilient. So like now, like all these bots that, they don't operate in web browsers for the most part, but the best bot, a bot protection company is good when the bots have to like pop open a browser or have you import cookies or something. It's Shape Security. F5 Networks has the best shit right now.
Okay.
I know people that regularly bypass it. There's in fact a company called Teller.io.
Called what? You broke up right as you were saying the name of it.
It's Teller, like bank teller.io.
Okay.
And what they have accomplished is quite significant. They've cracked Shape Security on mobile as well as like other bot protections that banks use. Although Shape Security managed to get a lot of the top contracts reliably, like
okay,
and for years. So they have like Chase account connections, years long, like long. They have like they've really designed an amazing system. 5G private 5G mobile proxy network, and it's a competitor to Plaid.
Okay.
So essentially, it allows you to like if you have a financial technology company, you can use them to link with banks, and it actually it offers a really high level of reliability. So Teller.io is an example of like a legit company that has like bypass bot protection, but for a product that actually ends up improving, like everyone's happy with it.
Right.
And they just did what they needed to do to provide the product, and like they, you know, I wonder if anyone's ever tried to like use their thing to credential stuff banks. I figure they have, new account limits and stuff, but that was my first thought. I don't know. They're good. They're good though.
Okay.
They're good. And then as far as AI and bots, so you're gonna it's more like right now if I have a bot for say Nordstrom.com or any site that really has a bot protection provider at all, like the code that I write today that works today for that website has a half-life of maybe 2 to 4 weeks, which means that it's going to probably stop working in the next 30 days.
Like, and that's because it's being used en masse at that point?
That could be a contributing factor that will accelerate it.
Okay.
Depending on the diversity of device fingerprints, you have to blend in with the crowd.
Right.
But it's actually more importantly just that the code on the site will change, and so it's the fact that the bots are currently all coupled to the exact code of the website.
Okay.
So we saw things in 2020 like Dick's Sporting Goods when they would release a shoe. They would like edit their HTML to page a little bit or the JavaScript and add like a cookie, like blue equals green or some crap, and it broke all the bots because it was like the dumbest thing. And like your bot protection, actually, the smartest bot protection is the dumbest. It's the dumbest things.
Okay.
For these bots that don't use web browsers.
Gotcha.
Which are the really fast, high scale ones. One machine, 10,000 humans.
Right.
Kind of thing. Or synthetic identities.
Right.
So the AI makes it so then we'll have bots that like just work in perpetuity. You know what I mean? So bots are going to start to interact a lot more with the internet. We're going to see synthetic identities start to be farmed en masse. So like, of course, like aged accounts been sold forever, but like we're going to start to see really bespoke shit. We're going to start to see like, people will be creating entire fake high schools to create identities that they're going to use 10 years in the future and have these like networks of like, it's like you're growing like, identities because these are going to have the chain of trust.
Right.
So, and then, so there's going to be like these literal farms. I think as there
that's really interesting what you just said about high schools for identities that will be used years down the road. I've said for years now that the longer that identity is there, the more legitimate it looks.
Yeah, and that's the game because unless your chain of trust starts with a in-person meeting, you really don't know who you're dealing with. That's it. It's checkmate. And so it's interesting that WorldCoin thing that they're doing. They have a biometric scan. You show up in person, and now you have like there's a key pair associated with your eyes. It's like it's an underrated concept as far as its importance for the future of bot protection. Now, I think that it's a little radical and it's not going to really take off. Or, I think that, I was just at the Apple store, right? And thinking about Apple as sort of the base of the chain of trust being inside the secure enclave of the modern iPhone chip.
Right.
So as if you're never going to stop people making synthetic identity. It's we're going to start to things have to be backed by physical reality,
right?
And so Apple has provided that backing for identities in the physical. The bar of gold is the iPhone.
Right.
That makes sense.
It does.
And Apple's so rich. Apple's a bank. They have like $300 billion or something.
Yeah.
In cash. So, they're pretty well prepared with Apple Pay and all this stuff. Now it needs to get better. I just spent 90 minutes at the Apple store that wasted.
Yeah.
Even though like if their fraud system was intelligent, and I think this stuff will get better, but like the thing is, consumers put up with a lot of crap right now, and the fraud problem is, I don't know. It's certainly there. It seems to be like, at least when I'm transacting with my cards, it's like once you get into four figures, like it's just phone calls.
That's it.
It's just phone calls now, unless, and it's crazy. Even card present, even like Apple Pay on my main phone, like it can get better. But all I know is there's a lot of fraud right now and they're having trouble.
I mean, there is a ton. There's no doubt. Well, it's all the damn fraudsters that came into the into the collective during COVID. The government gave all the money away to any thief that wanted it, and after that dried up, they had to pivot to something. So
I mean, I've seen it with the shoe market's dead right now. The NFTs are dead.
Right.
So it's like people like I'm addicted to easy money is kind of even for the rich and the poor a common American pathology today.
I like the background, dude.
I know. That's why I drove here.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all. So let me ask you, it's heat index today in Birmingham, Alabama, 115 degrees. What's the temperature in wonderful San Fran?
My car reported 74.
I am so fucking jealous.
And it's a perfect cloud density, 50%. You know?
I am absolutely jealous of that. I'm literally in the house roasting right now.
You gotta get those new Mitsubishi ACs. They're good.
I'll do that. Maybe I can get a bot to get me.
They're real efficient. Yeah. It's funny. HVAC. Yeah. Like it's one of the HVAC equipments. There's some stuff like, I was like, can we find deals on lumber? It turns out there's still some things that people, HVAC contractors, they want someone to speak to over the phone.
Right.
Old school's still there for the people that have real jobs.
For the people who have real, exactly. I don't have a real job either. As you see, I don't
have a real job. No, this is working on the internet's a joke. Huh?
It is. It absolutely is. So you had said the LLC with this bot that you built, $1 million.
Yep.
That's crazy, man.
9 months. 0 to $1 million. I think I can do it in like a month now. Like I think I actually now like I'm confident that whenever I need $1 million, it's like 30 days for it. And it's legit, like legit
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
So
there's always something. And the thing is, I've been, I crawl the internet for deals.
Right.
And so the evolution of these groups like Malice, Site Supply, after these bubble markets die down, so the shoes and the NFTs were the main ones, they're like, well, where's the alpha? Where is the profit? So there's actually a large cottage industry of like freebie bots now.
Right. Are they worth the damn?
Or they just do a lot of junk delivered to your door. So you put in your address and an Amazon account because it's based on Amazon promo codes. I never spent the time to look into exactly. I never like built one of these myself because all I know is they find junk. They find Chinese junk. But there's like a promo code guesser for weird long strings of promo codes. So like 8-digit alphanumeric,
right?
36 to the 8th combination. So it's not like they're brute forcing them. I don't know. There's some alpha there, and people
Right.
do resell these things, but it's like the kind of stuff you take to the flea market. It's like
Right.
this is a modern way for like tweakers to boost and support their.
Because I talked to a guy today, and he said, drugs ain't free. And I was like, you're right. They're not. Those tweakers need to pay for whatever they're getting in.
Yeah. And so, I mean, San Francisco, right, a few blocks away from where I am right now, there's like, or just this weekend, this at that place, there's a flea market, essentially impromptu street flea market. People have all sorts of personal care items laid out straight out of Walgreens. You can buy them at 50%, you know what I mean, or better. Yeah, you could just have your little Walgreens pop-up shops.
As Walgreens are shutting down, you can get it on the corner.
And it's not a bad way for people to spend their Sunday in the sun.
Yeah, I guess so.
Enjoy a week blitzed out of their mind.
No, yeah. So
that's how it goes.
Here's the thing. I these shoes, I've when I worked with Arcos, of course Nike's a client. A few other people Adidas is a client. And this is the thing is you go to the sites without a bot. You go to the sites, you're not going to get the shoes that you're wanting. So you have to go to StockX to go to all these aftermarket places and try to find it. And typically you're paying out the wazoo at that point. And before we get into the stuff that you had sent me talking about on the direct messages, I understand that these retailers don't really give a damn. I get it because they're selling the shoes regardless. It increases their brand across the spectrum, everything else. I get that. But what should these companies be doing to mitigate these issues?
I think they should partner with the absolute best, most dedicated anti-bot solutions available. It seems to be F5 networks right now. There's no retail bot that you can purchase like similar to HeyHa bots, KSR. These are just some names of active current bots that hit retail websites such as Target, Walmart, etc., shoe sites.
Right.
So I lost my train of thought. These bots cannot hit shape security at scale.
Okay.
That's all I know is that they seem to have no problem with Perimeter X, comma.ai, etc.
Right.
Cloudflare, like solve problems.
Right.
They solve problems. Shape security is not a solved problem for scale. They're smart.
Right.
I did research on shape security in 2020. They catch on to patterns very fast. Online detection is what it's called.
Okay.
Where they have a very efficient data pipeline that's constantly taking in all of the new traffic and like analyzing it, classifying it, scoring it. And then there's some threshold of like a risk score. That's,
so that it really takes a solution like that.
Yeah. And it's smart.
Right.
It's smart. If any deviation from human will be detected, no matter whether it's at the network level or the behavioral level, or they're looking at the full stack. Now, it's not that it's impossible to get across. It's all just bits over the wire. You just have to have the right bits.
Now, do you think that AI helps that happen?
Not yet, but it will. Like, you will not be able to stop an AI bot using a 5G proxy without degrading the user experience for normal humans.
Right. And so going into, and I got to say, I mean, I was impressed. I had not heard of Malice until I was asked to look at it, and I was impressed. I mean, beyond impressed. I was, I was like, hey, you guys mind if I, engage here a little bit? And I got the green light for that. So how much can you take one of these? You take somebody that, has really no technical experience. and they want to start in the bot game, buy the bots, pay the subscription for the service, what have you. What kind of profit potential are we looking at for an individual like that?
It all depends on the season you're in. So right now, not too much. And most newbies, even in the hot seasons, even when there's a hot item,
right,
such as PS5 or some hot new shoe, even in those times, humans still lose a lot of money. There's a lot of scams out there. There's a lot of resellers. Because it's a whole reseller industry, there are, say, for proxies, you've got big residential proxy networks that are the source. And then you have all these like resellers that kind of pop in here. And then like they're oftentimes selling the same IP to multiple people. So then it becomes kind of like less worth it or flagged.
Are there any good proxy providers right now?
Huh?
Are there any good proxy providers right now or not?
I use 5G proxies for everything that I do. So I would say not, I would say like, yeah, there's always good proxy providers. I'd say for any like complex botting involving interaction, like check out 5G all the way. But for like crawling, yeah, I'll use like residential proxy networks that are cheaper, you know what I mean? But I actually prefer to, I don't know, the public providers are all you're just mixed in with a lot of junk traffic. That's the thing, is like I prefer to actually purchase IP blocks or be purchasing, cellular plans, directly from carriers, to working with these public providers, because only in those situations can I know that the IPs are mine and like clean. And that's 5G, they're special because they're not yours, but they're everyone's, and they're
right. And the reason I was asking that, a few years ago, LuxSox on the criminal side, LuxSox was the proxy provider. You didn't have to worry about them reselling proxies to other people countless times, anything else. It was a solid service for cybercrime. And LuxSox shut down. And when it shut down, it affected the cybercrime community substantially. I mean, at that point, it was very difficult to find a good provider if you were doing carding, if you were doing synthetic fraud, anything else like that. So you saw a huge shift from looking for proxies to going the route of cellular at that point. And you saw the cellular fraud boost up substantially at that point. And that's what I was wondering about on the bot market side. If that same experience had happened, if the problem with proxies was such that it was creating that type of issue.
I've always known that 5G proxies are the end game for many years. Like, that's where it's going. Like, it's just going to be more expensive. Right. You know what I mean? But there's still so many working proxy providers. I just tend to desire 100% uptime, 100% reliability, kind of as close to that as you can. Which I don't know. It's like, if you are okay with a crappy connection, then there's still Black Hat World. Right. Is always, that forum is always full of offers that are pretty much the cream of the crop of what you get publicly. There are resellers that purchase large IP blocks, get their own ASNs with the IP authority, so they actually have businesses registered, legit. So
one of the things that's eating everyone, every vertical alive right now is synthetic identities. I mean, it's hitting everyone hard. And as you know, not all synthetic identities are created equal.
Yep.
And why don't you talk a little bit about synthetic identities and these bots?
Yeah. So when a store has a one item per person policy, they enforce it through address comparison. So if you have two orders for the same limited release product for the same name and the same address, one of them will get canceled. To evade this, people change their first. They start by changing their first name. Keep the last name. Let's just, now our family has 1,000 people at the same address.
Right. Because they're doing that on that rules-based system. So
they start there. Like from a reseller's perspective, like, okay, now I want to buy multiple. What do I do? And then it's adding apartment numbers. They call it jigging the address.
Right.
And so, then it's like false apartment numbers and random names. And then the key is for checkout, the virtual credit cards that are agnostic to the billing address and shipping address. This is privacy.com. This is, I'm not sure if American Express and Capital One are agnostic to address, but I know those are also heavily used by resellers. That's Slash App. It's a newer one.
So how are you gaming it enough to get past KYC?
Get past KYC. I think I don't have to get past KYC. I guess when KYC where?
So you want that virtual debit card. Are KYC rules in place for that or not?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say typically it's gonna. A lot of people are deferring to the banks as a source of trust. So it's typically the KYC will be like, okay, if you have a linkable bank through Plaid or Teller.io, then they like can say, okay, the bank trusts you, we trust you.
I gotcha. So that's the game right there.
And then additional ID verification sometimes.
Right.
But there's a lot of modern neobanks, fintech sites that will just require a linked bank. And I actually think that for the most part works pretty well.
I mean, I agree. I do.
Yeah.
But the thing is that's really interesting. So when I talk about synthetic fraud or synthetic identities, I talk about, creating stealing a kid's social security number or creating a social using the algorithm and boosting, gaming the OSINT, everything else across the board until you build that full identity.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we're seeing right now is that, so you build that identity in the US and then you transfer that to the UK, to South America, someplace like that. And what's happening is, as much as you're describing, as long as the US system is recognizing it as legitimate, there's no KYC that actually happens in the UK system or in South American system. They're simply trusting that it's happened further up the chain.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting when you think about it, because once you're in, by God, you're in.
Yeah. Once you're in a bank, you're in. I think once you have a solid bank, bank log, right? But those are like, 2FA is pretty good these days. 2FA is doing a lot. It was funny. I stayed in a hotel room and I left my debit card in there. And then I went to get it from the front desk, and they also had a Wells Fargo 2FA security key. I was so tempted. But I actually was like, what's the fucking odds that, is this a real Wells Fargo? Someone trying to get me to plug this shit in,
So getting the virtual cards, and that was something that we were really interested in. How many of these things can you get?
So the company that gives out the most right now to just a fresh user is Slash App. Will give you 500 cards. So then you've got one bank account now you can have 500. You can actually, 500 cards, and they'll work with any billing address and any merchant in perpetuity. And you can get more. If you can get more if you spend a lot more. And these cards will just fucking work.
Yeah.
This bam. It's all about instant transfer. And so I like that. But it's just a chain of trust, super important.
Right.
You know what I mean? Chain of trust, super important.
So that one Slash App will give you 500 brand new user, out of the gate.
Yeah.
They're all
So they
work like a
banned
charm.
Chevron because people, it was authorizing for $1, and then people were, gas is a special sort of card transaction. You know what I mean? So
Right.
other than that, but it's that kind of thing. They got to watch out for. That's sort of thing. These methods.
Right.
But they watch for that. They're on top of their transaction log. They're small. They're not that big right now. So Slash App is like I trust the people running that organization are
right. So let me ask you: have you seen any of the retailers, the merchants, the sneaker companies? Have you seen them start to try to track these cards by bin numbers and flag them like that, or not?
Yeah, they'll get bins banned, but like Slash App probably has dozens of bins at this point.
Okay.
And there's yeah, and Slash App's at the point where they're processing enough volume that they're eligible for bigger contracts with banks and potentially with Visa or MasterCard directly. And so, yeah, I do see that, but it's not that aggressive.
Right.
They're getting paid. You know what I mean? The bins get banned when there's like when they're like the $1 Chevron method.
Right.
Or actually Chevron still gets paid there. There were a couple instances that Slash App team shared with me, where a bin was banned.
Okay.
And it was never for going for limited release products. It was always some sort of referral loop.
Absolutely. I can see that.
Some sort of,
why? And you're right. Why would you ban the bin? Because you're making a legitimate purchase. Yeah. The company's getting paid. They're not complaining.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would you ban that? You wouldn't.
Yeah. So I really do think that given the incentives of the retailers, they just want to stop fraud. They really don't care. They just want to stop chargebacks. They just don't want to, they don't want to lose the money that they, might lose to accepting a stolen card. Right. Other than that, and they want to reduce their server expenses for when the bot attacks are very large. It's important that their servers don't get hit with all of that traffic. So it's like a traffic filter and then like block actual fraud. Other than that, they don't give a shit.
It makes perfect sense. You said, and here's the thing, I absolutely love our conversation. It's very refreshing to have somebody that knows what the hell they're talking about and is open about it.
Yeah.
Because it's not frequent that happens. I didn't know that before we talked today. And you had said in a direct message about these sneaker shops and money laundering and organized crime.
Oh, yeah, it gets wild.
When it occurred to me that when you said that, it had not hit me. But by God, that is one hell of a laundering mechanism. It absolutely is.
It's massive. It's massive.
So,
and all the resellers, I'll take cash for my shoes that I just got with my bot, and then they go to Melrose Ave, and then
so
Chinese money, fuck, I don't even know a few of these stores, but yeah, I went to a clothing store on Melrose. I bought a jacket. Jacket smelled like gasoline. That shit was soaked. They have the fabric absorb cocaine and they ship, and then they can get it out of the fabric, and then they still want to sell the clothes to get money from that. So they put it on the rack on Melrose Avenue.
So these stores that are selling these shoes like that, I just, how do you stop? Because that's what NFTs were to a large extent. That was one hell of a laundering mechanism.
Way more traceable, though, I'd say.
Absolutely.
That's the thing is, yeah, this is way harder to track because of the number of individual, interactions and deals that will be done locally. It's about in LA, right? There's a lot of people reselling shoes there.
Right.
A lot of people to buy from that'll take cash.
Yeah, that's one hell of a
I
game.
mean, the shoe has just been a great medium of interchange. Now the shoe market kind of sucks right now, so it's still good for laundering, but it's not, it's not like, it's not going crazy. You're not getting these shoes that are dropping, selling 2x.
So why is that?
The no more stimulus checks, people changing how they spend. It was funny
Bad
how
economy.
expensive shoes were. The shoe market was so high when no one was going outside. It's kind of weird. It was a speculative. Everyone was speculating,
Right.
pipe dreams.
A lot of pipe dreams. So now the market has stagnated a bit, slowed down. The hot item are there any other hot items coming up other than Apple Vision right now or not?
Yeah, always. There's always even stuff you don't expect. You know what I mean?
Right.
I saw this a lot during COVID, patio heaters, above ground pools, seasonal, right? It just kind of happens. Someone's supply chain fucks up and then there's money to be made.
So how do you keep track of that? How do you keep track of that, knowing when that supply chain is disrupted enough that item's going to?
So that's what these Discord groups are really serve their purpose as sort of intelligence agencies of sorts, where you have so many eyeballs on so many different places just from people that are generally searching. And then there's a group called Bander's Bounties that's quite interesting, where if you find a deal, he'll pay you a bounty and then share it with his group.
That's not bad.
And so you have all these people incentivized to search. But you can also do automated search means. The hard problem there is having a price oracle or being able to know, oh, this will flip. Okay. Price oracle, if it's something that already exists. And I mean by that, like, okay, here's an iPhone listed for $99.
Right.
Having the intelligence to be able to say, oh, this iPhone normally sells $999. They forgot that they moved the decimal place accidentally. That kind of thing.
Okay.
So I spent a lot of time working on that sort of technology.
I mean, you're impressive as hell. Let's be honest. I mean,
thanks. Yeah, I mean, I found my niche for sure.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So the Apple. Explain this thing to me. You're not creating an actual a traditional bot.
No.
The idea is to use AI and market it toward the individuals that are just wanting one of these items or not.
I think I'm open to people that want to purchase multiple, but I'm always going to comply with the law. And there's a law pending that might make it illegal to go to use computerized means to bypass one per person. It gets interesting though, because like average people going for these items are calling up their friends,
right?
Have old phones, they're booting up, going for these items. So where's the line? Where's the line where for like, going for a release, you know what I mean? The Bots Act, the Grinch Bots Act, which is pending in Congress, it came out when the PS5s were out of stock from congressman in New York.
Right. He got pissed off. He couldn't get one.
Yeah, or his kid, or his constituents in the upper New York State suburbs.
They didn't want to pay $1,700 for a PS5.
Yeah, so like if that passes, then I'll probably just serve people that want to. I'll just help people get one.
Okay.
But I'll do what's required. I think it should always be okay to like provide a service that does like no more than is required to get one.
Right.
Actually, the law. I'll be good under. I'll be good. I'll be good no matter what. So you're always good with the law or without if you just go for one. Multiple, I think, is still legit right now. But again, either way, I'm happy with that product. I would rather. I'm more concerned about the just get one. More people just get one instead of being in the hands of resellers. Actually, just be the tool that people use to get their hands on the thing that they want.
And I mean, and again, I mentioned that earlier. I don't have a problem. I am not angry at anybody that's using bots to get this inventory. I'm not. I mean, I've got my PS5. I ended up that season. I absolutely used the bots. Got 3 of the damn things. Sold 2 of them. That paid for my 3rd one. I was good to go, and did the same thing with the Series X and all that. I mean, I knew the game, and I was like, that's what it's going to take to get it. That's what I want to get everyone for Christmas. That's what, by God, I'm going to do. And I don't get. My problem is that, like, the Grinch act that's going through, and it's liable to go through. And you're absolutely right. There has to be a line there someplace. So you're going to, if I'm able to get 4 or 5 of these things, I'm now prosecutable, even though 4 or 5 of them are going to.
Yeah, and like what means, it's also specific,
Right.
like using bypassing digital means or something, you know, or like, you know, it's like what, because it gets really weird. Like, what if it's just like I buy the phones and then like an AI uses them for me?
Right.
And it, you know, it's just, can I not? It's super, you know, it's super hazy. So
yeah, I'm not sure why we are not holding the companies responsible, like Ticketmaster. That would seem to me that would be the way to go. But then again, I'm sure Taylor Swift, but I'm sure that Ticketmaster has, you know, some lobbying money saying, nah, we need to hit the bots instead.
It's funny, you know, I mean, we got the law against the bots, you know what I mean? It's just not enforced.
Right.
Just there's so, I mean, we have so many laws, and like it seems that only like certain of them have more attention and focus law enforcement than others.
So I think
someone's got to be made an example of. It's not going to be hard.
It's not.
Just subpoena slash app. I don't know. Just like subpoena slash app, or like, you know, all of privacy.com, or just go on Twitter. Like, these people are all in the open.
They absolutely are. They absolutely
are.
Like
when I first encountered this industry, I was so surprised because I was like, wait, why are all of these companies so public? This like used to never happen in public. Like, what? And the whole time I was kind of confused. And then, like, I don't know. It's like you're legit or you're not. Okay, you know, there is a line.
Right.
There is a line.
Yeah, I don't know where we draw that, and who we draw that toward, or anything else.
Yeah, but there's some clear offenders right now. There's some clear offenders. You know, all the tickets got bought by, you know, organizations. You know.
Right.
And there's just huge industry supporting all of this, and it's a real thing, and people don't know about it, and Ticketmaster doesn't care.
Right.
So
let me ask you, you know, we've got 8,500 plus security companies, and we've got a lot of media, and Lord knows I've been contacted the past 3 or 4 months. I've given 4 or 5 different interviews, much to the chagrin of the people interviewing me. And they've all called and asked basically the same question: how are criminals using AI? And my answer has been, right now they're really not. You know, there's a lot of So do we actually see that being used anytime soon by not only bot people but criminals at large to any success at all?
Yeah, later this decade, undoubtedly.
Okay.
Undoubtedly.
I mean, that's what I think.
It's like hard right now. So like the people capable of doing it are just not spending their time doing it. But eventually the tools get easy enough.
What do you think that looks like? I mean, you already talked about that when you were in the car to an extent.
Yeah. It looks like people providing resources, the fundamental resources of internet connectivity, devices, and farming them. And, you know, there'll just be a lot of automated interaction with the web that can be directed quite easily by a human, similar to how you can tell ChatGPT something short and it can expand upon it. You know, you'll be able to give a command like create an account here,
right,
using this identity in text, and press enter and it'll happen. So it's like it's as if everything that people are currently using virtual assistants for, which is the, you know, nouveau term for the call center. You know what I mean? It's essentially people and put this in front of a screen, set them on the phone. anything that people are like using like call centers and virtual assistants for right now will be done by AI, and people will be able to do it using like their own like resources and stuff. So it just unlocks, like, just imagine if you're able to like tell the computer what to do.
Right.
And then like, you know, on itself, like, hey, go here, dude, you know, and it'll just do it. You don't need code. It'll actually behave like you just told a human to do that thing.
How soon do you think?
And then so, how soon?
How soon?
I mean, I'm doing it next year. Like, you know, like, when is it, like, but like for my niche, you know what I mean?
Right.
For checkout. When is it, like, general?
Yeah.
And in the public, I don't really know. I don't know of anyone. I know it's going to happen, and I know it's going to be possible, but I don't know who's going to do it or what tools are going to lead to that. I can tell you undoubtedly that we're headed in that direction, but it's still early.
Right.
And more people should be spending their time on it, but you know, the longer they don't, I don't know, the more ahead I am. So that
so you're going to launch this next year. It's going to be out before Apple Vision is. It's got to be
early 2024. Yeah.
So you're close, because we're getting there.
Yeah, we don't need a super intelligent AI to check out from Apple. However, you do need one to be able to check out anything on the internet, and
Right.
it's now possible 100%. All of the sort of missing pieces from a tech perspective, as well as from a tech perspective, as well as things like, you know, I've wanted to do this for a while, but there's been some missing pieces and questions I had to answer.
Right.
Having a company like Slash App that I can trust, like, my bot is not, there's no credit card form. You're going to need to have an account with something like Slash App, or I'm open to integrating with other competitors. The cards are only going to come from there, because I know that if I ship another bot with a credit card form, it is just going to be stuffed with stolen cards. People can cash it out.
No, absolutely.
And bots today don't realize, the developers don't realize, the bots, Hey Bots, KSR, Wrath Automation, Prism Technologies, all of these companies provide downloadable programs for Windows computers where you can import a CSV of identities, shipping addresses, billing addresses, and cards, and cash them out really fast.
Right.
And they don't realize, they don't log the credit card numbers because they don't want that information on their servers. But if you're also people just aren't really thinking about what's going on.
So I'm gonna let you go in a second. So you you launched the Apple product. From there, obviously it's going to be a success, because people are going to want this damn Apple.
Certainly, yeah.
So what's the next step from there? Do you build the one that does everything?
Yeah. So it's about treating, if you get yourself stuck site by site,
right,
then you're stuck in the old model of writing the bot where the site changes its code even one line and you are liable to have downtime.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's going to be Apple, and we're going to be testing the AI on Apple. However, it's going to be a complex release. There's like an app where you have to scan your face and shit. Like, it's gonna, you know,
and you have to have the Apple product to scan your face, I'm sure. Maybe.
That's why I'm buying so many iPhones.
There you go. There you go. So look, I don't know if I'll get in trouble for saying this shit or not, but good luck. You let me know when this thing comes out.
I think that Apple will be happy.
I think so too.
This product. If I don't release this product, the scalpers win.
That's right. You know? So you let me know.
I'm actually launching an anti-bot.
That's right. That's
all
right.
along.
See, I like that.
The anti-bot needed to be a bot. So,
and I'm going to help you.
Everyone else says, oh, go ahead.
I'm going to help you, because when it's ready, I want one. All right. So that was episode number 85 of the Brett Johnson Show. Andrew Haden. Andrew, again, thank you so much for coming on the show. I hope everyone enjoyed listening to Andrew as much as I did talking to the man. I think he's absolutely outstanding. My name is Brett Johnson. Hey, if you enjoy the show, please subscribe. If you don't enjoy the show, and I honestly don't know why you wouldn't, if you don't enjoy the show, please subscribe. Leave me a note. Suggest people that I can bring on. If there's something you don't like about the show, let me know. I'll probably ignore it unless it's a good suggestion. At that point, I will implement it. Believe you me, I absolutely will. So please subscribe to the show. I'm trying to get the show up to where it's actually generating some income, which maybe it will, maybe it won't. You know what? If it doesn't, I'm okay. I'm still going to keep doing the show because I like to do the show. We're going to close things out. How do we close it out? Same way every single time. Stay safe out there. Stay secure. Stay vigilant. More importantly, understand this is the Brett Johnson Show. At the end of the day, just do the right damn thing. I'm Brett Johnson. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.